Well, thank you all for coming. Several members of CPN, we visited Scotland Neck. Jim Shank was our chair. Sarah Downing with Shield Sexton attended. Jennifer Weaver with PSI. Ian Patrick with Beloba. Peyton Fairbanks with High Caps, and Eric Fredrickson with Balfour Beatty. And so we made a visit there, and we had a great time. We made several recommendations, and the mayor of Scotland Neck is here, and since our visit and our report, they've made a lot of improvements, and he's going to talk to us about it.
Certainly appreciate CPNI inviting me to come here today. These folks have been wonderful for us. As you can see in the video, we are a hometown people. I've been there 65 years. I've been there all my life. My brother and sister have been there all their lives. My children, they wandered off. I got a daughter that lives at Kill Double Hills at Outer Banks, and I got a son that lives in Boone. He went to Appalachian State and never come home. He's been in Boone longer than he was at my house. But it gives me great places to go. My oldest grandson from the Outer Banks plays football for the University of Richmond. So I'm traveling to Richmond to go to Outer Banks, Boone, and Richmond. My next grandson's a senior at First Flight High School at Outer Banks, and he runs track. He's being recruited by East Carolina and North Carolina State, so I'm gonna have somebody else to go next year this time. But it's exciting to be able to travel and see grandchildren and play. But I'm the mayor of Scotland Neck. It wasn't on my bucket list to become mayor. Our previous mayor, I was working one day in my office, and he stopped by and he said, "Eddie, I'm getting old." He said, "I need somebody to take my place." I said, "Well, Leonard, that's not on my bucket list." I was a commissioner, but I had no idea about being mayor of our community. But our community is at my heart. You know, it's the place that we want to grow. And Scotland Neck is in Halifax County, which is one of the poorest counties in North Carolina. I was at an economic development meeting the other night, and the Commerce Secretary said there's more population in Mecklenburg County than it is all of east of 95. That's incredible, isn't it? It's more population here than it is all of east of 95, thinking you got Wilmington east of 95, Greenville east of 95, but it's incredible. Y'all, there's more cars on this campus than we got in Scotland Neck. It really is. It's incredible. But being in a poor county, our community is a poor county, is a poor town. And since the late 1970s to the early 2000s, we used to have a Ford dealership, new car dealership, a new Chevrolet dealership. One time we had a Pontiac dealership. Both sides of our main street were full of businesses. Some of the side streets, we had clothing stores where you could buy nice clothes. Everything you needed was in Scotland Neck. You didn't have to go to Rocky Mount or Greenville or Tarboro to buy your stuff. Everything was right there where we needed. Now we got 5 Walmarts within 40 minutes of Scotland Neck. So when you talk about opening a business in Scotland Neck, everybody says, "Well, I'll shop there." But you know, in the end, everybody wants to go to Walmart. So it's a lot of competition for that. We lost manufacturing jobs. We have abandoned homes. We've lost population, which leads to a reduction in our town's income. We've had a lot of programs eliminated and activities. The most devastating losses that we've had is our downtown area. Back, I guess it's in the early 2000s, we had a great Italian restaurant. And one night during the night, there was a fire. It took out nearly the whole block. If you remember on the video where Mr. McDowell's pharmacy was, that whole area beside that pharmacy was all buildings that were destroyed in that fire. And so it's hard to recover those kinds of losses. Still today, we're set to lose up to 6 more buildings, but thankfully, our Board of Commissioners has approved a short-term plan to help stabilize several of the most dilapidated downtown businesses. It's taken just a tremendous amount of time to convince the board that sometimes it's better to spend money up front than it is to just spend money to tear down. And we are to that point now. I have convinced them, and some of the other commissioners and our town administrator has convinced them that we need to put some money in some of these buildings. Our town is on the verge of becoming a crossroads if our downtown continues to shrink, which costs Scotland Neck our identity and the result of loss of even more jobs. We do have a rubber plant in Scotland Neck, and they have just spent about $5 million to double the size of their plant, which has created 42 new jobs, which doesn't sound like a lot of jobs in Mecklenburg County, but in our community, 42 jobs is a lot of jobs. And Triangle Tire Company, this Chinese plant, is going to start building in the very near future, about 20 miles from us. So hopefully they're preparing to be able to provide rubber for this new tire plant. One of the bright points we've encountered on our hard journey has been the CPNI group and the volunteers that have come to the town to assist us in plotting a strategy to move forward. I'm a retired insurance agent, 40 years. That's what I did. I have no experience in stabilizing multi-story historic buildings, but CPNI, they brought many experts in the field of architecture, business, engineering to our doorstep, free of charge, to provide us a pathway forward. Two things you need in life. You need a pathway to travel to your destination and a light by which to travel. The good Lord provides us the light, and CPNI provides a path for small towns such as ours to travel. While that sounds kind of melodramatic, it is not, because without CPNI, we would be trying to find a path forward while we waste resources on projects too big, too complex, or worse yet, we would just be stymied and wouldn't do anything. CPNI first showed up in Scotland Neck in May of 2018. I think Janine called one day. I never talked to her, she never talked to me, but it was a great call that day. Many of the returning team were part of the May 18 team, which really added to a sense of continuity that CPNI was able to provide. Jim came back, Janine came back, Sarah, Peyton came back, Jennifer came back, and Aaron Fredrickson also came as his first trip. And we were able to meet at our bird park part of that time. Although we had not made great progress, we had started the following recommended actions from 2018. We developed and energized our business association with great results. We had a business association, but it was made up of people that weren't business owners. So they were more of a social club. Now our business association are business owners in town, and we meet with them once a month to see what they have plans and what we're doing so we can combine that together. It's been a great relationship. We started a hometown newspaper. We publish it monthly. It's called the Scotland Neck Gazette. In our community, the News Observer doesn't deliver there anymore. They don't come to Scotland Neck. We have Roanoke Rapids has a paper, and local papers are struggling now. I don't see Roanoke Rapids having a paper. Their paper is actually printed in Henderson, North Carolina. And we have 35 subscriptions for the whole town that are delivered by mail each day, and they have a couple of paper boxes. And the Rocky Mount Telegram, they have some subscriptions. But our people want it because we are an older community. Our population is very mature. A lot of those people don't get out and get papers. So we developed this paper. It has big print, big pictures, and the town administrator and two ladies volunteer. And it's nearly getting too big. I've asked some other people, I said, we need some more volunteers because the project is just getting so big. But in September, we were a little late getting it out. And we had people, where's the paper, where's the paper? So you know that the paper's working when they miss it when it's not there. So it sounds like a small thing, but it's really a big thing. We've hired a code enforcement officer, which we had a part-time code enforcement officer, but we needed a full-time code enforcement officer. And I was sitting in church one Sunday morning and said, Lord, you know we need a code enforcement officer. By the end of church, a friend of mine, he lives on the block behind me, was sitting there in church. And I knew he did building stuff, handyman stuff on the side, and he chased boll weevils during cotton season. And after church, I said, Parks, I got an idea. Would you like to come to work with the town as our code enforcement? And he said, gosh, you know, that would probably be nice to have a job with some benefits. He came in the next morning. We hired him. And so far, he's the type guy that even though the code enforcement guy is just, you know, he's not a nice guy to the public. You know, he usually don't deliver good news when he comes to your house. People love him to death though, so he, you know, he fits perfect. So we've talked him into getting his wastewater treatment license. So we contract with Suez. Many years ago, we had a supervisor die that had the license. Well, at that time, the board just couldn't find anybody to pass the licensing exam. So they contracted with Suez to take care of the waste treatment, the licensing. They had people licensed, and they do trash pickup, street maintenance, water and sewer maintenance in the streets. But we pay them nearly $1 million a year. And I've been telling the board for 2 years, we can do better than this. They said, well, we can't get people with license. I said, you know, we'll get people with license. Well, if you get people with license, who's going to supervise them? Well, we've got 3 people between the electrical department and the code enforcement that have already got that license. We got level 1, 2, and 3 license for the waste treatment plant. And I've got a supervisor that if the elections go good in November, he's going to be on board and going to bring people with him. So we're going to be saving about $150,000 to $200,000 a year next year off that contract. Plus, we're going to have people that care about our town because they're going to be local people and things will look better. So that's worked out really great. We've established a historic commission. We've engaged with Sylvan Heights on a partnership level for the gain of both the town and Sylvan Heights. It's a great example of a public and private relationship. You can see the banners that have been printed. I brought one. We have Halifax County Tourism, and we have gotten very little. We have a little hotel. Believe it or not, we have a hotel in Scotland Neck, as small as we are, and they do a really good job. But as far as tourism is concerned, they like 1% of the tourism in the county. Well, tourism is buying 58 of these banners to go on our main street. 21 of them are going to lead north to the driveway that says, follow me to Sylvan Heights. We estimate that Sylvan Heights will have close to 70,000 visitors this year at the bird park. And when you say it's a bird park, it's just not your average everyday bird park. There's birds, there's extinct birds from all over the world, and we have visitors to Scotland Neck from all over the world to come to this bird park. And they raise a lot of their own birds. In fact, just the last month, somebody was shooting a documentary on geese from Nebraska. Well, they came to Sylvan Heights and set up a temporary swimming pool, put all the greenery that looked like you were in Nebraska and everything, and they had Sylvan Heights geese diving in the pool, and they will video them underground to put into the documentary. They filmed all of that right there in Scotland Neck. But you're going to think it's in Nebraska. So, and they did another documentary where the geese follows the guy on the little airplane. They filmed that in Scotland Neck. Sure did. With the birds from the bird park. But we're excited to be able to, we've got all the hardware to get the banners up. We're waiting for the final group of banners to come. So that's going to brighten up our downtown area. And it was totally funded by tourism, a little over $8,000. So that was great. We've started a focus on regaining traction for our recreation department. We're refurbishing our old town hall, which was built in 1939.